Hello, all guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast, brought to you on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watch a lot of wrestling.
I'm David, and like a pretzel that has yet to be turned its signature shade of brown and added onto the Na2 that adorns it like the glisten of the gods, I bring to you new eyes, new words, and old hearts to create an image of destruction incarnate. And if this makes no sense to you, welcome to this fucking arc. It's the Ultimate Warrior. Oh,
That was not a bad parody
that
of
was all.
Ultimate Warrior speak.
That was all to say that I am a noob. Could you tell? Neither could I.
Not a bad impression. Not a bad impression of
Yes!
how the Warrior writes his
Yes!
promos.
I did it! Well, okay, but I haven't snorted about 10 lines of coke beforehand. But regardless, I feel very proud that I can do it without medical assistance. You know, I didn't need roids to
You're
reach that level of
natty.
promo writing.
You're
I'm
natty
natty when it
career.
comes to Ultimate. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you. I'm natty on Ultimate Warrior promos, bitches. Fuck.
Yeah, we are back in 1990 as on the road to WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Challenge
The Ultimate Challenge
has been given out. Last time we were here was
Yes.
the February 3rd episode of WWF Superstars, the
Ooh,
first
the
show
love
after the
month.
Royal Rumble, and Hogan and Warrior both issued the challenge to each other. Hogan cited this Ultimate Warrior as potentially of the devil.
Yes, of course.
A facet of this storyline that has been forgotten to time.
It's just disappeared. We didn't need to that part for the history books. Just toss that one out there. It ultimately got lost. There is so much unhinged bullshit amongst this whole arc that, like, so much of it is just gonna fall to the wayside that in any other arc you'd be like, whoa, hold, go the fuck back. What did you just say?
Yeah, so we're skipping ahead a few weeks tonight to the February 26th episode of Primetime Wrestling.
7 p.m. bitches, I presume anyway.
Or I don't know when it aired. So let's talk about what's happened the last few weeks. And honestly, not a lot. Not a lot of
I'm
ground.
sorry, what?
Not a lot of ground covered in the last few weeks, you know.
Tengo preguntas. Warrior and Hogan are like the main characters right now, correct?
Yeah, but they're like barely interacting with each other.
Tengo otra pregunta. WrestleMania is a March pay-per-view, right?
Late March, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Fine. Pardon me.
April 1st. Oh yeah, because that's
Oh, okay.
I remember that
Okay, fine.
because Heenan said they named a whole day after Hogan and Warrior. It's April 1st, April Fool's Day.
I mean, when Heenan's spitting, he's spitting.
Yeah.
But okay, I can't actually get too mad at that. A month plus, a month and a week left to build. Okay, that's fine actually.
But what has happened is after they laid down the Ultimate Challenge on February 10th on Superstars, President Jack Tunney gave an address explaining that Hogan v. Warrior would be the main event of WrestleMania 6.
Oh, wow. Determined that far out. That's exciting. Buy your fucking tickets, bitches.
Yeah, man. They started hawking the telephone line to call Ticketmaster and get your tickets to WrestleMania.
Oh
6.
yeah, this is some CM Punk is gonna main event the first episode of Collision like fucking 3 weeks out or whatever, right? This is buy your motherfucking tickets. bitches.
Yeah. The thing to note, though, is that Tunney didn't explain what titles, if any, would be on the line, right, going in. He just said it
Oh
will be
fuck, they're
Hogan
still
versus
double.
Warrior.
They're still both champs, right?
Yeah, that was kind of the question is Hogan's the WWF champ, Warrior's the Intercontinental champ.
IC champ.
What belt's going to be on the line? What happened? A lot of the heels in this point in these couple of weeks have been like, well, guess what? The main event of Mania will in fact be for no titles because we're going to win the belts.
Honestly, I kind of like that as an angle. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, so for a couple weeks, there's been a little bit of a drama about like what titles are going to be on the line. And in fact, I picked this episode because I felt like we need to do one of two Jack Tunney announcements that happen in this feud. And so I picked the one where on this episode, he is going to say what titles, if any, will be on the line.
Oh, shit. Do we get like the heel scramble a bit here too?
I watched it as part of the 2-weeker.
Okay.
Part. It's kind of like the last ditch efforts to get these belts away from the current babyface champs.
What do you mean last ditch? They have over a month.
Yeah, well, once it's set in stone, it's kind of like respected. Like, okay, that's the okay, no more title.
Lame. Unbelt these bitches. Holy shit! I would do everything in my power to personally murder Hulk Hogan with an announcement made that far out. Are you kidding me? Fuck, give me that title and I'll show you all up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
so
I just think it'd be funny to watch the heels really scramble for this one, like
sure.
for a long period of time.
But that leads to kind of the big show that kind of happened in between since
The
we've
big
gone
show.
is it's the main event.
Oh shit.
The main event, because last time we talked about Saturday night's main event. The main event is kind of a spin-off of that same idea, except except they air on Fridays in like prime time.
Oh.
In fact, the original, it's been a long time since we did this episode on the podcast, but that Hogan Andre match that we watch with the fake referees and Andre becomes the champion.
I am relinquishing the title to Ted DiBiase.
That was on the very first edition of the main event.
The main event. So how did they justify the main event as a TV show? Like whose spot did they usurp to get that?
It was just kind of an annual thing at this point. Just they just had a spot. They just had a spot in February. NBC just had a spot in February, I guess.
Sure.
But on February 23rd, so we are kind of just out of that. The main event had two title matches. Hulk Hogan versus the Macho King Randy Savage in a WrestleMania 5 rematch. They kind of advertised it as like the final battle of the Mega Powers.
That's exciting.
And then Ultimate Warrior versus Dino Bravo to kind of pay off that long-running thread that of Jimmy Hart's boys targeting Warrior for the IC.
Oh yeah, that all that shit.
Yeah, so at the main event, the big hype match was Hogan Savage, obviously, and in fact they had a special guest referee. They for a long time they were advertising Mike Tyson because he was the undisputed boxing champion of the world. And then
did he go and fight somebody's ear off?
No, much less controversial. A couple weeks before the show, he lost the title to Buster Douglas.
Oh no.
And so the WWF just slotted Buster Douglas in there. They said, Tyson, get the fuck out.
Jesus.
Only.
Oh my fucking God. That's really fucking funny. Oh my God. Hogan is out here being like, I only work with real champions, dude. What the fuck?
So like both Hogan and especially Savage like threaten like, oh, you better call it down the middle, Tyson / Buster Douglas, or I'm gonna give it to you.
Buster Douglas said, I dare you to try. I murdered Mike Tyson.
Well, So we get to the match. The match is pretty good. But they basically have like regular ref Earl Hebner, and then the guest ref Buster Douglas hangs out on the outside of the ring to help keep the chicanery on the low. Second pair of eyes.
That seems like a slightly wasted use of your Buster Douglas
Well, it's
chore.
because Buster Douglas can't call a match like a referee.
Well, yeah,
Ref.
and
So
would Mike Tyson have been?
no, he would have done this. He would have also been an outside referee.
Sure. Okay, fine.
Anyway, the outside referee gimmick is used to just like give them an excuse to do a couple guest spots, but not have to like actually manage a match like an actual pro wrestling referee has to do.
Fair.
Anyway, he catches Sherry cheating and throws her out of the match. They even pause the match because he like forcibly walks her backstage to make sure she actually leaves, and they pause the match until Buster Douglas comes back.
That's funny.
And then in the match, there's a ref bump, and Buster Douglas has to run into and count the pin for Hogan to win. And it's a little fast. I'm gonna be honest with you. And Savage is like, who you? And so Savage spends some time posturing at Douglas while Hogan sits in the corner and is like, I'm just gonna watch how this plays out. He's just I'm gonna grab the popcorn.
Absolutely. As I would also do.
And then one time when Savage is posturing at threatening Buster Douglas, Hogan just walks up, pushes Savage into Douglas, and then Douglas hits Savage with a knockout punch.
Hogan got bored, so he's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking speed this up.
All right, let's get to the part I'm here for.
Yeah. It's actually really fucking good. Hogan's like, hey, Savage, fuck you. And pushes him into the arms of the man who is good enough to beat Mike Tyson. Yeah, Hogan was trying to watch fucking Savage get murdered. Oh boy.
Yeah, so Buster Douglas wrecks Macho King's shit, and
Beautiful.
That's the end of that.
I adore that.
And then in the main event is Dino Bravo and Warrior. Warrior wins with pretty much no shenanigans. But then after the match, the Canadian Earthquake gets in the ring and starts beating down on Warrior, and he threatens to do a top rope like splash. Like he threatens to do like his finisher where he sits on you from the top rope to Warrior. Jesus. And Hogan,
not his finisher by default.
Hogan runs out and knocks Earthquake off the top rope and sends him out of the ring. Hogan saves Warrior.
I will say, I highly doubt this was intentional, but there is something kind of beautifully poetic about Hogan making a save spot for like the second biggest dude in the company on the same night that he kind of has. Well, on the same night that he kind of has his final showdown with Randy Savage, or supposedly final showdown with Randy Savage. Anyhow, like
last time until I'm pretty sure it's the last time until they both are in WCW actually. So
shit. Fair. Well, then there you go. So as an ending of the Mega Powers, like that all got started when Hogan came out to make the save on Savage getting the Honky Tonk Man beat down. And now fucking he's doing the same for Warrior. That's actually really interesting.
So then the men, they do.
Doubt it was intentional, but
they do some fragile male ego posturing between Warrior and Hogan, and then they get promos after this to explain it. And Hogan was basically like, "I did what I did, brother, because I'm keeping an eye on you 24/7, Warrior, because I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want to scratch on you before our match and WrestleMania."
Okay.
And then a Warrior is like, I did not need your assistance, Hulk Hogan. I have the power of the Warriors that stand on my back.
I feel like people standing on your back would hold you down and like impede you.
But then Warrior also he's okay. So Warrior is standing in his locker room in this doing his
Mhm.
interview, and all around his locker room is a bunch of memorabilia for Warrior, and he's like, "See how my Warriors support me, Hogan. I have their power." And then he points out these like one little thing over here, like on one thing on like one of the lockers, and he's like, "See, Hogan, you red and yellow, Hogan, the colors of the all Hulkamaniacs. They are doubting Hulk Hogan, that you are the strongest force in the
Oh no.
WWF."
Vince is like, I feel like Terry's getting old, so we gotta start to bury him a little bit. He's given Warrior like a little trowel, and
Yeah,
he's like, hey Warrior, see if you can't like convince the fans that actually they fucking hate Hogan now.
that actually Warrior is better. That's right.
Yeah, in every conceivable way. Which, like, you know, I am. Our loyal viewers will know that I am very sparing in my praise to Terry Bollea. But if I'm comparing him and Warrior as wrestlers, I will take him over Warrior any day.
Mm-hmm. But so that's the angle, a light little angle. There's wrinkle they're throwing in here. This idea that Hogan is obsessed with this idea of like who's the strongest, because on some level Hogan is afraid that he's not anymore.
Again, that's actually a really interesting thing to explore with the Hulk Hogan character. Too bad this is WWF in the 80s.
Yeah, they're
Like,
not going to explore this as fully as
fuck.
they could.
I feel like I'm definitely broken recording right now because I feel like I've definitely said shit about like the storylines of this era and maybe even storylines that have to do with Hogan. If only it weren't 80s WWF booking sensibilities to go along with it. Because if it weren't, then we could actually do some really interesting stuff with this.
Yeah. So that's the kind of the groundwork that's been covered this week for Hogan and Hogan and Warrior. All right, I'm
Mhm.
gonna read through last time's Superstars events and kind of just cover what's changed since then. Dusty Rhodes, it's been made
The
official.
Dream Daddy.
A lot of WrestleMania 6 matches have been made official right now.
With
One of them,
over a month left. Oh boy.
right. One of them is Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire versus Randy Savage and Queen Sherry in a mixed tag team match.
It's the dream, Daddy. Well, it's a bit of a nightmare because I hate mixed tag matches, but it's close we're gonna get, Daddy.
Yeah, so not a lot of plot progression there because Savage has been focused on Hogan because he had the
Spin
title match
those
upcoming.
wheels, spin those wheels.
Yeah. Brutus Beefcake and Mr. Perfect has been made official for WrestleMania. Perfect wants revenge on Brutus Beefcake for
For what happened at
partially
the Rumble.
shaving the head of the Genius, and in fact, they've made a running bit now of the Genius is very tightly wearing that graduation cap of his, refuses to take it off because he has a big bald spot now.
Wait, they just made poor Lanny Poffo go around with that fucking bald spot?
Yeah, just keep the hat
Holy
on.
shit. That's so. But, like, my man had to do that in public, too. That's so sadistic.
Well, that's wrestling for you. Um,
Fuck. Just
so
shave. Just buzz cut, whatever.
Rick the Model Martel, he introduced, and he hasn't really been doing much story wise, and he will not at Mania do anything big story wise, but he did go on the Brother Love show and introduce one of the most iconic parts of his character, his line of perfume, arrogance, that he will
Oh.
squirt out of a huge, like, it looks like one of those things you like
Like the
bee
beekeeper,
the
like the
beekeeper
smoke, the
smoker.
beekeeper
Yeah,
smoke
a
things. Yeah.
smoker. Spoke out
Yeah,
of a
smoker.
beekeeper smoker. It's arrogance by the model. This is a big
Not a,
character beat of his, so it's kind of a cute thing to bring up.
not a bad name for a fragrance. I would buy that fragrance.
Yeah. The Hacksaw Jim Duggan just had a match with Honky Tonk Man where he smashed Honky's guitar with his 2x4.
Oh no.
Honky Tonk Man
Disgusting.
versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. What a match that would
Oh
be.
boy.
Sort of.
I'm willing to reevaluate Honky Tonk Man because I feel like I gave him kind of an unfair shake the last time we saw him. But like Hacksaw Jim Duggan on the other hand, oh brother.
No. Okay, so the other
No.
big story thread that's actually progressed since the last time we were here. DiBiase and the DiBiase, Jake Roberts, Big Boss Man triangle.
Oh yes.
So last time we were here, the Big Boss Man had his big babyface turn as
Mm-hmm.
DiBiase's newest scheme to get back the $1 million belt stolen from him by Jake Roberts is to pay off Big Boss Man to go get it. However, Big Boss Man wasn't comfortable with the idea of being paid off to do the dirty work of a guy to do dirty work. And so he turned babyface and gave Jake the belt back. Two matches have been made official for WrestleMania. First is Jake Roberts versus Ted DiBiase for the $1 million championship has been officially made for Mania. And then after the other thing is after that is Big Boss Man is after being humiliated publicly like that. The Ted DiBiase went back on the Brother Love show. They are doing the Brother Love show like every fucking week now.
Oh God.
But he went back on the show and revealed that he has paid somebody to deal with the Big Boss Man. And it is Akeem the African Dream.
Oh no.
Reverend Slick's other client and former tag team partner of the Big Boss Man. And it's now been made official. Big Boss Man versus Akeem at WrestleMania.
Couldn't have had a tag match. We couldn't have had a triple threat match. No, it's gotta separate it out and throw fucking Hakeem into this for dear Lord. Okay, fine.
Also, in the most recent episode of Superstars, which admittedly may be covered on this episode of Primetime Wrestling, because big developments from Superstars usually wind up on Primetime. So, actually, you know what? I will save it then, now that I think about it. If it doesn't come up, I'll bring it back up in the back half. But I'm trying to avoid... I watched the episode of Superstars from February 24th, but I don't want to talk about anything that happened exclusively on that show because it might get recapped on this episode of Prime
just
Time.
in case. That's respectable.
All right. The Canadian Earthquake has a match at WrestleMania against Hercules. These characters have not interacted at all yet.
Good.
It's just been announced for Mania, and I'm like, great.
It's just because they're two big boys.
Yeah, the Powers of Pain. A lot of guys have just been like still beefing and trash talking each other. The Bolsheviks and the fucking the Bushwhackers. The Powers of Pain and the Rockers, but they're not really like progressing anywhere. Roddy Piper and Bad News Brown have talked more shit to each other. That's the match that will actually be happening at Mania. I think the most interesting, the funniest thing to note so far of this feud is Roddy Piper cut a promo saying he went down to Harlem and talked to the people in Harlem, and he was basically like, they all said you were basically a bully. So he's like, his Bad News Brown, his whole thing is like how hard his upbringing was in Harlem. Now he had to fight for every single little thing and blah, 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 blah. And Roddy Piper's like, man, why are you talking a bunch of bullshit? You're just an asshole who bullied everybody.
Oh my God. Shut
the fuck up.
Oh my God. Bad News Brown is out here just like decking his neighbors. And he's like, it's so tough growing up in the slums.
Bam!
He's actually in like the Harlem people are like, yeah, he didn't fucking live here. He grew up in like, some middle class neighborhood. He just come around here to kick us in the balls for some reason. He just
showed up and picked fights in Harlem.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So okay, see if there's anything. I don't think there's anything else that want to bring up here. The ongoing shenanigans of Bobby Heenan been fantastic. I just want to bring this up is that Bobby Heenan, since they announced like how you can get tickets to WrestleMania, Heenan's been running a consistent bit of primetime of like trying to run like a scalping business. Like as soon as Gorilla read out the telephone number to like call and get tickets, Bobby Heenan picked up the phone and tried to get like 1,500 tickets.
I love how they have a phone where he can do that. Like just on hand, they have a phone that he's able to do that.
And
Beautiful.
then they had a bit where they cut back from a match and only Heenan was in the studio, and he tried to and he was like literally like talking to the audience and trying to scalp tickets to them. He's like,
oh my god,
I'll sell these tickets for a discount.
Dude, I fucking wish. I doubt they did this, but wouldn't it be so funny if they actually like placed Bobby Heenan outside the arena for WrestleMania and had him holding up a fucking scalper sign going like "Need tickets?" ? Just imagine that level
That would have been
of dedication to the bit. I hope, please God, when we get to WrestleMania, please God, let them have a skit of that. I don't think they will, but oh my fucking God, that'd be such a good payoff.
It would be so funny.
Oh my God.
All right. And so we get to we are at now the episode we're going to watch. If you would like to watch along with us, these episodes aren't on Peacock because Peacock's pre-Raw content is pretty rough for WWE.
Yeah, it's not great.
You can find these episodes online. That's how we're watching it. So we'll be back in the back half to discuss the February 26, 1990 episode of Prime Time Wrestling.
Yeah.
And we are back. We have finished the February 26, 1990 episode of Prime Time Wrestling.
Yes, we have. It's been a hot minute, I guess, since we went to Primetime last time we were in this arc, we did Primetime Wrestling.
We watched Superstars, which is basically the same thing but shorter.
Okay, then it's been a hot minute since we watched Primetime, I feel like, because the way we open this episode is something I don't remember. In previous Primetime, I could have just missed it, or it could be like something they added later. They have like, a whole opening sequence for Primetime, and it's got like a jazzy instrumental going. The trumpet's blaring and all that jazz. But we get like all these like random clips of Gorilla and Brain just like out and about, and they're being like really cute together. Like we have Brain pushing Gorilla in some kind of like push cart. I think I ship it.
Well, by this point, they've done a bunch of bits together, and it's become part of the appeal of the show. Is that Gorilla? This is the show where Gorilla and Brain do bits.
This is the full appeal of watching Main Event for me. It's the Gorilla, and you will see in my notes and my commentary that like the joy returns to my soul every time Gorilla and Brain are on screen together.
Mm-hmm. And they do open the show, and
as is natural,
they do the announcing bit. Gorilla announces some of the stuff upcoming on the show, and Heenan tries to throw to the Rick Rude feature right now so they can leave early.
I didn't catch that, but that's great.
No, after he mentions that Rick Rude is like the feature of the show, Heenan's like, okay, go to that. And Gorilla's like, it's not time for that yet. But then he's like, if we do it, we can leave.
I love Heenan so much. Yeah, the two of them together are utterly magical, and I will continue to highlight that for the rest of this episode and every single time we cover anything the two of them ever did together ever. They say that President Jack Tunney is here to make the announcement of which title is going to be on the line. And I do want to say I made a note here. Austin obviously knows the punchline to this. I actually didn't off the top of my head. So I made a note here of this is verbatim what I wrote. I feel like there's a correct answer here as to which title is on the line. But I doubt 1990 WF is cool enough to actually do it.
What did you think they should have done?
Well, what they ended up doing is the best part. They actually were cool enough. We'll get there.
All right, all right.
Also, Heenan mentioned they mentioned Jake the Snake Roberts, and Heenan insists that Jake the Snake Roberts is better known as Fingers. What?
I get what he's saying because he's got he's a thief, sticky fingers.
Oh.
I get where he's going with that, but also you're trying to make fetch a thing. Stop trying to make it happen.
It's so nonsensical, but that's why I love it. Inject it directly. Opening match is Roddy Piper is the name of the man who I just went out of my mind for a second. Roddy Piper versus a man who I thought for a moment might be Bad News Brown, because I don't remember entirely well what Bad News Brown looks like. And also, they didn't announce who the fuck he was fighting.
I don't have a name for this guy. I have a name for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, then we get a Bad News Brown like picture-in-picture promo, and I'm like, wait a minute, Bad News Brown has a full-ass beard, not just a mustache.
Yeah, Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown. His promo is like, whenever he gets his hands on Roddy Piper, whether it's in an alley, on the street, at the grocery store, he's gonna make sure that Roddy Piper doesn't make it to WrestleMania.
Yes, he's very determined. And somewhere Vince said in the grocery store, write that down. And
then a decade later, he'll be going through his old files in his office, and he'll come across the note that said grocery store.
True. Vince looks at it, he's like, what a genius. What does it mean? I'd like to believe that's how Vince makes all of his booking decisions, is he like makes a random note of something, leaves it for a decade to ferment, and then pulls it back out, and it's like, this is brilliant.
Amazing.
Amazing. But yeah, fucking I also want to point this out. So I want to share two notes in a row that I had. So the audio on this particular episode, Austin, as you will concur, is not great. You tried to fucking like call it a skill issue, because I was watching.
I did,
and you're like, yeah, no, I just usually watch it.
David watched it first, and I was like, I just watched it on my headphones. It'll be fine. And then I watched it on my headphones. And I'm like, God damn, the audio quality is shit.
Try to fucking gaslight me. No.
Oh no.
Oh no, good. So two notes that I had in a row. The first note, God, I can't fucking understand the announcers here. Oh no, I actually have to pay attention to the work. And then directly after that is a note that just reads, squash ass shit.
Yeah, I mean, Roddy Piper just kind of one-sided beats down this guy. He goes for a pile driver, then he punts him in the face, gets mad that that's only a 2 count, and then he just hits a suplex and pins him again, but this time with only his foot on the guy, and that's how he wins. Wow.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rod. So yeah, I actually didn't have to pay attention to the work because this match lasted -5 seconds.
We cut back to Gorilla and Heenan, but whoever did this video cut off the intro to the bit, so I don't understand.
I was talking about I can't understand half the shit they're saying. It's not helped by the fact that motherfucking whoever edited this, no shade, you're sharing it for archival.
You're doing the Lord's work having this much here. But also
like half the shit they talk about. So it becomes even more incomprehensible. It just felt like a fever dream without having to drop a single shred of acid.
I couldn't tell. They were talking some place,
some country. Yeah,
they mentioned Lincoln Tunnel, and that is the only identifying marker of what they were talking about.
No fucking like context anywhere, and you know what? Maybe it's better off for it.
But anyway, the WWF is coming to your area.
Man, it's like its own standalone advertisement, and it's like graphics on the screen of like what locations they're going to, and with each location they announce, they announce like one featured match or at least one featured wrestler who's going to be on it.
Yeah.
One of these places they're advertising on fucking Dino Bravo versus Earthquake. Fucking imagine selling tickets off of Dino Bravo and fucking Earthquake. What a magical time 1990 was.
During this lengthy period like of watching these episodes, they were hyping a show in Columbus for a while here, and the featured performer was Brutus Beefcake. He was main eventing the Columbus, Ohio show, and I'd be like, "Well,
to be fair, like
Brutus, I'm not getting tickets to that."
To be fair, Brutus does seem decently over in 1990.
He is, and I hate 1990 WWF fans for it.
I mean, I hate a lot of WWF fans across a lot of eras for many different things, so understandable.
But all right, it's time to get to the WrestleMania update. But first,
yes.
Get that Ticketmaster number, baby.
Also, I swear to God, every time I see Jack Tunney, he looks different. Like, I could have. Okay, I'm either remembering this one of two ways, and it's definitely like the second way. But like, because in my mind, for some reason, I always like imagine Jack Tunney is almost like, I don't know, a Mean Gene lookalike for some reason. But he's like this really like slender guy, full head of like silver fox hair. But I swear to God, I had a memory, and it must have been fully constructed, of when we did Andre versus Hogan. It was the fucking Mean Gene lookalike who came out as President Jack Tunney.
No, that was the Berenstein Bears universe where that happened.
Oh, true. Oh fuck, I got Mandela affected by Jack fucking Tunney.
Get Mandela by Jack Tunney.
Get Mandela, brother. Yeah, fucking. So, oof, ow, owie. I got a Jack Tunney jump scare.
Yeah.
And then, I in my notes. Wait, no way. Holy fuck, they actually did it. Those mad meh. Oh, I forgot to add the end there. Those mad meh. They did.
Yeah, so basically, Jack Tunney explains that he has deliberated for the past few weeks, and that both Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior demanded to defend their titles. Therefore, for the first time in WWF history, it will be a title for title match.
Those absolute madmen.
Those titles will be on the line.
I can't fucking believe it. So yeah, that is actually sick. I was not expecting that. I fully thought they were just going to be like, it's just Hogan's title. Fuck you. But no, they're doing a double title match, and that's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay. Cool.
And don't worry, Hogan and Warrior have things to say about it.
Plenty to say about it. All right.
It's my time yet again here on this podcast.
Indeed.
You know something, Hulkamaniacs? Champion versus champion is one thing. The Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan is another. But title for title is the only way WrestleMania 6 could go down. Jack Tunney, you're a smart man, dude. You realize that when the two strongest forces in the WWF collide, one will probably be wiped out. You know, Warrior, don't get me wrong, brother. What went down last Friday night just wasn't an act of kindness, dude. When I saw the earthquake get ready to soar, when I saw that there may be a chance that you'd be wiped out and splattered all over the mat, that's why I came down, brother. I'm going to watch your back from now until WrestleMania 6. I don't want a hair on your head, a scratch or mark on your body, Warrior. Because when you get in WrestleMania 6 and Hulkamania wipes you out, we don't want any excuses, dude. You know, I've thought about this thing over and over again. I've thought about the Sky Dome. I've thought about the intensity of all my Hulkamaniacs on my back, Jack. everybody knows that this is where the Hulkster's power lies. He's pointing in his open palm hand. Dude,
Okay.
and as I lock up with you, Ultimate Warrior, in my mind, I can feel the snap, crackle, and pop of your wrist and your fingertips as you bend at the power of the strongest arms in the world. And then as I reach down and cinch you up with a bear hug, Ultimate Warrior, as I can feel the life and breath of your darkness, of all your gods that you talk about being squeezed out of your body. And as the intensity level blows off the walls off the place, the roof of the Sky Dome will open up, Ultimate Warrior. And as Hulkamania is running wild with the whole world watching, brother, your gods as witnesses and mine will be up there. And that's where I'll strike you down, Ultimate Warrior, in the Sky Dome with the heavens, with the whole world watching. And what are you gonna do when the largest arms in the world and the Hulkster destroys you?
Yeah, okay. So Hulk is just descending further into the madness of his religious zealotry. That's great.
He really is.
Yeah, my man's like thinking he and Warrior are waging some kind of like proxy war for the heavens of like Christianity versus godless paganism or something like that. Jesus fucking Christ. But also, Austin, I'm sensing undertones here. I talked at the beginning here how cute I found Gorilla and Brain to be, and their little cut together antics in the opening credits, and how I ship it. I think there's a little shipping that needs to be done here. The way how much Hulk Hogan thinks about Ultimate Warrior,
It's a little excessive.
How desperately too he feels the need to not only protect Ultimate Warrior from harm, but to like justify how it's actually a very selfish reason for him to be protecting the Ultimate Warrior from harm. But he wants to make sure that sweet boy who he supposedly does not think too hard about remains well and unharmed and in good spirits. I feel as though your performance as well as your background gives a tremendous credence to all of this. I really felt the underlying sexual tension, so I'm going to give this one a now kith out of 10.
Well, I hate to you don't want to overdo it with the Hulkster, brother, but I have found some song lyrics that I think adequately describe Hulk Hogan's state of mind right now, and I think right now the Hulkster needs to let it out. So it's like this. Like fire, hell fire, this fire in my skin.
Yo, wait.
This burning desire is turning me to sin, bro.
Wait, hold the fuck up. You might actually be cooking there. Because Hulk Hogan is descending further into religious zealotry. See, out of nowhere, sees this weird, like, darkness in Ultimate Warrior's soul, but cannot cease his obsessive thoughts. You might actually have a point there. Hulk Hogan says mea culpa, brother.
Hulk Hogan as
Dom Claude Frollo.
As Claude Frollo. That's that. Yep. That all checks out to me.
Archdeacon of Notre Dame. Oh my god. Wait, does this mean
choose me or your pyre, warrior?
Oh my god! That could actually be part of a Hulk.
We got to do the whole song as a Hulk Hogan promo instead.
Oh no! Oh my god! All right, so we have fan fiction that needs to be written of Heenan and Gorilla. We have fan fiction that needs to be written of Warrior and Hogan. And we also need to cast Warrior and Hogan in a remake of Hunchback of Notre Dame. Beautiful.
My big note from this promo is, sometimes it's very memey to talk, like, have every single Hogan sentence end with, like, brother and dude.
Yeah, I did notice.
It's a bit of an excessive meme in some ways. He has had plenty of promos where he does not end literally every sentence with brother, dude, Jack. This promo feels like he's leaning in really hard at brother, dude, Jack.
I didn't make the full observation that you did, but I did notice the amount. It was very striking to me how I was noticing all of the brother dudes and Jacks in this one.
Yeah.
Something I will say though, uh, we give him so much shit, but like, man, sometimes Terry could really be a good promo. And aside from the absolute like insanity of the brothers, dudes, and Jacks proliferating literally every sentence, I felt like this one was actually pretty effective. Like it was fucking insane. Don't get me
It
wrong.
was.
It was deeply fucked up, but like I was kind of feeling it. And there was a cohesive narrative to be followed. And he's telling the story well. Like he's a piece of shit, but man, he really could talk. And I hate to admit that, but I think it's kind of undeniable at this point. Like, man, yeah, I get it. It's stupid and I hate it. But I do get it. Also, like, after listening to another Ultimate Warrior promo, especially one with on a recording with not great sound quality, I think an underrated part of Hulk's mic talent is that he's actually like really good about enunciating. Like
He is.
every word he says comes through crisply.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan is super intelligible in that way, in a way that like there's so
Not
many
a lot
shouty
of wrestlers
dudes.
are.
There's a lot of shouty dudes in this era of time. That was the thing.
Yeah.
But Hogan, you could always tell exactly what he was saying.
And I don't even know how much of it was a concerted effort on his part. Mm-hmm. I think he might have just had a natural aptitude for speaking crisply.
Mm-hmm.
So Austin, I need to set this up for our audience. Austin, he has his now recurring segment of he's got to do one of the promos for each episode. He found himself at a bit of a crossroads here, because there were two insane promos back to back, and so Austin was unsure of what to do, but never fear, David has a bit. So Austin so graciously passed off the Ultimate Warrior promo to me for recitation, and I'm not gonna do it like in a normal way because it's me. I don't do things in a normal way. There were observations that I made about this promo from our boy the Warrior that I feel the need to share in a sort of recreation of the promo itself. So the promo begins as such. Yeah, Warrior is a very sleepy boy, actually. This
is the most time I've ever spent watching like week to week Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah,
I wasn't prepared for how much like low growly stuff he does.
I don't know if I can consider that growling. That was some honk shoe ass shit, Austin. My man was a sleepy boy.
He's trying to snarl and growl. Whether that comes across like that,
it does not. So I need to make it clear that for the duration, for a large majority of this promo, Warrior is not looking at the camera. My man is looking straight down, just right down to the floor, which only leads me to the conclusion that he had cue cards down there. And honestly, some of his delivery was broken up. Some of his delivery was broken up in such a way that made me believe that.
He has some very awkwardly long pauses.
Yes.
Some shit.
Yes. So I will attempt now to recreate that in the proper manner. So again, let me get the onesie up so I get my full sleepy boy affect going. So
okay.
Oh, we're rolling. Have we the Warriors ever gone into battle unprepared when that is only what we live for, to feel the combat and the rage and the challenges that come before us. Earthquake was nothing but another challenger. A man filled with many great strengths to make the power that I command even stronger to deal with. Who am I facing? Hulk Hogan! I need not you to watch my back. The warriors that ride with me will make the sacrifice. The ones that fall. The others that stay will show no pity to those that were not strong enough to survive. Hulk Hogan, in my world, a place where you have come close but have never been belts, normal representations of champions. Wait, is that what the fuck he said?
Yes.
Wait,
yes, that's what he said. I don't know.
Do not walk with the Ultimate Warrior. I walk where you can no longer breathe. Hulk Hogan, I walk where the pain I shall receive only makes me stronger. You, Hulk Hogan, have a question. I, Hulk Hogan, have the answer to that question. I do not need to know what is the most awesome force. Hulk Hogan, I am the only force. I promise you, I was only exaggerating that a little bit.
Yeah, no, good, lovely job there. A Q card out of 10 is.
I'm my man. Like, legitimately, he was just looking down and spinning the whole time, and all I could gather was that there was just a mess, a circle of cue cards for him to follow, and like fucking poor techies had to like whip them away with each one he finished to reveal.
So, unlike Hogan, I had a much harder time following this promo.
Anything he said.
I have individual points that I can remember, but there's not a cohesive through line.
There is. So I'm sorry. The warriors that ride with him will make the sacrifice. What are we going on? Is he going on a fucking suicide bomb mission?
Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Yeah. What the fuck does that mean, warrior?
And then not only are the ones
crusade, Deus Vault warriors.
Not only will some of you his fans may die, but his fans that don't die will have no pity to those that were not strong enough to survive. This is the Ultimate Warrior says, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Ultimate Warrior says, 72 virgins in paradise. Jesus Christ. What is happening? Also, I walk where you can no longer breathe, Hulk Hogan. Fun fact, he was referring to Chernobyl, which actually explains a lot about how Warrior got this way.
Yeah, I walk
likes
where the
to take calming strolls on 5 Mile Island.
That would explain a lot about how Warrior if he took regular vacations to Chernobyl.
Okay, sorry, you were saying.
Load up the rocket ship, and we must go, warriors, to the sacred grounds.
Yeah, wait, fuck, can I tell?
Wait, Chernobyl.
Yeah, true. The Deus Vault. Am I right? What is this? But Hulk Hogan, in my world, a place where you have come close to but have never been. Belts, normal representations of champions, do not walk with the Ultimate What does that mean?
Yeah, I rewound a couple times to make sure I somehow didn't miss some part of the sentence, because it didn't feel like it made sense. But no, I missed nothing.
That's a run-on or a fragment or something. That is not correct.
No, it is not.
What the fuck? is happening? Okay, so yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, I don't even care about who is the most awesome Force, Hulk Hogan, because I am the only Force. So
yeah. Hogan's trying to do the whole unstoppable force meets unmovable object. Although this week, to be fair, he did kind of lose the plot on that and just called them both unstoppable forces, which okay. And Warrior said, actually, no, fuck you. You have either no mass or no acceleration, Hulk Hogan, and thus no force.
You have no acceleration, Hulk Hogan.
And we all know by the formula, F equals M times A. That means 0. Yeah, okay.
Newton's second law dictates that you are no force, Hulk Hogan.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay. So that happened. We cut back to Heenan and Brain, who were both just kind of like, so that was a lot.
I did like Heenan. If I wasn't getting in for free, I'd buy a ticket to see that.
Yeah, no, they were both they were both like, we're not entirely sure how to process that. And you know what? Same. Cool. And another match. Yeah.
And skipping the things we don't know how to process. Akeem, the African Dream from the deepest, darkest part of Africa.
Yeah, the part with apartheid. I don't fucking know what.
Yeah, they must have meant apartheid when they said that.
Like, I assume he's meant to be from South Africa?
I don't know.
I don't care.
Because
because it's either that or them just being abjectly racist. And I'd like to have some faith.
Okay, I want to remind you what Wikipedia says. How they got to this Akeem gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
First, let's just go with this first paragraph, because I think that's all we really need here. In September 1988, One Man Gang's manager Slick announced that Gang was reborn as African and planned to embrace his roots. An episode of WWF Superstars, which aired on September 24th, 1988, featured a vignette with Gene Okerlund on location in an American ghetto that was dubbed the deepest, darkest parts of Africa, where dancers dressed as tribal Africans danced and chanted around a fire. Slick then announced that Gang would be known by his new name, Akeem the African Dream, though Okerlund immediately called him out as the One Man Gang. This vignette received some criticism as the Caucasian team delivered a promo in which he spoke with an extremely stereotypical jive accent and danced in the style of Dusty Rhodes while an African ritual took place in the background.
I'm sorry. I blacked the fuck out and had a fever dream of what you just said. Clearly, you just described actually a very normal promo to me, and I just hallucinated the most unhinged racist thing I've ever heard of. What?
Yeah, so I don't want to give them a benefit of the doubt on whatever they thought they were doing with Akeem.
No, there is no benefit of the doubt there. There is no, he's from South Africa and we're trying to make a prescient point about apartheid. No. This is no. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh my. Okay, at least he's a heel. I don't fucking know.
And he's facing Terry Zeller.
Yeah, Terry Zeller. Let's go, jobber.
All right, Akeem gets a picture-in-picture promo to say it's time for the big boss man to learn what the ball and chain feels like. And then Alfred Hayes is like, he looks big enough to eat the ball and chain.
Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you, Al.
Also, something I realized, the aisle actually leads to the corner of the ring with like the steps and not like the center of the ring, the entrance aisle.
That was the way they had. That was the setup they had at the time for the most part.
Interesting. I've never really noticed that before. I can actually understand commentary for the first time. Lord Alfred is coming through crisp and clear.
Yes.
I forgot that while Akeem, I either forgot or was never fully aware that while Akeem and Big Boss Man were a tag team, They were known as
They were the Twin Towers. I said that in the front
Oh.
half as well to remind us all. But yeah, they were the Twin Towers.
Oh no. Oh
that
no.
name aged poorly, but not as poorly as the gimmick overall. So
yeah, well, to be fair, the gimmick was rotten upon delivery. Yeah, let's go Jobber. Boo this man. At least the audience agrees, and again, Hakeem's a heel, although I don't exactly trust that it'd be impossible for him to get over as a babyface with this gimmick if he plays right.
They certainly never try. So,
they never tried, which, credit to them. But I feel like, if Hakeem just managed to do just the right wacky thing to endear the audience to him, he could have kept this gimmick and people would have been fine with it.
His concept for like, all right, I'm embracing my African roots is to kind of like look like me when I stem. This is apparently what he thinks is this is going to work for him.
I can't even tell. He's just wearing kente cloth. Like, it's, oh my God. Okay. It's fine. It's
shit.
fine.
Anyway, Hakeem hits a couple of splashes and wins. What do you think happened?
Yeah. And we cut back to the control room with Brain and Gorilla, and Gorilla's like, man, that Terry kid was a little bitch.
Yeah. Gorilla's like, Hakeem won't have it so easy at WrestleMania. He says Hakeem is liable to be locked up and arrested. And he's like, I bet you, Brain, I bet you've been locked up and arrested, haven't you?
I missed that part.
You know what? Heenan was like, I've never done anything against the law. And then Heenan is like, how could Boss Man have betrayed Slick like that?
He seems like legitimately perturbed at Big Boss Man's face turn.
I love that all of the heels are like completely disturbed at the idea of a guy not refusing to take a payoff. Like Jesse Ventura doesn't get it. Bobby Heenan doesn't get it. Brother Love doesn't get it.
All right, I have a noob question, TM, for you. How influential was like Heenan's gimmick at like for the entirety of like the heel commentator game? Like, were other heel commentators of the day, the ones that did exist, like as flagrant of contrarians as he was, or like was his dynamic with Gorilla like something that brought a whole new energy to the game?
I don't have enough to say. I don't have enough knowledge of like what other companies were like to give an opinion about like as a contemporary. What was Heenan's like? But because WWF won over the territories, even if it wasn't necessarily influential as a contemporary, like Heenan's dynamic with Gorilla became what I think a lot of people, along with Jerry Lawler, became their idea of like what a heel commentator looks and acts like.
Yeah, it set the trend. Okay, that's cool. Well, at least for audiences.
Mm-hmm.
If not
for an audience,
which then can ripple out to the broader.
Which then, like
that's fair. All right. So that was a whole thing. Next match is Haku versus Smash, because how do we preview a Mania match that's a tag match? Oh, we just pit one member from each team against each other, of course.
Some things never change.
You fools! That's not going to increase the rivalry in my GM. What are you doing?
Yeah, idiots.
Yeah.
Though it will increase the rivalry in Extreme Warfare Revenge. So, if he, mixed results.
I see. They're playing on a different software.
Yeah. I did make a note that Gorilla, when he introduces this match as like a preamble for what they're going to for Mania, he gives shit to Bobby Heenan because he's like, you're going to send Haku out there to wrestle one-on-one, and in a tag match, he does all the work anyway. And Bobby's like, that's just strategy. Don't worry about it. That's
just strategy. I love that he doesn't even refute it. He's just like, oh no, there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Because obviously the real reason is Andre can't work anymore. But
that's really funny. Don't pay attention to the depressing decline of Andre's mobility. It's strategy. Man, speaking of, Haku sure does love to like splash a motherfucker. That's a big part of my man's moveset, I noticed.
Yeah. So we get Haku and Smash. It's a lot of them like punching each other with occasional other moves in between.
Again, Haku doing a lot of splashing.
Yeah. Smash, I don't think, is a very good singles wrestler. I think he's pretty good with Demolition as a tag team, but as a solo guy, no. And he's not any better when he's the fucking Repo Man. I'll tell you that.
Wait, he's the Repo Man?
Yeah, same dude.
Remind me which came first?
Smash.
Oh, how the mighty fall.
Yeah.
Jesus, imagine going from I don't love Demolition just because I don't know, I have trouble connecting with people of this era. But I can respect that they're all right, but fuck it. Oh my god, imagine downgrading from Smash to Repo Man. Oh no.
It's a far fall for Smash of Demolition.
Jesus, what did he do wrong? Did he get caught smoking weed or something? Fuck, that's a punishment.
Well, Demolition was basically DOA once they brought in the Road Warriors, because their whole gimmick was the NWA has the Road Warriors, so we need a counter. I know, we'll do Demolition. And then Hawk and Animal sign with the WWF, and it's like, what did we need? Why do we need second-rate Hawk and Animal for? Get the fuck out.
Oh my god. Holy shit, that's so funny. Just spite. Vince books on spite alone. It's beautiful. Okay, cool. So Haku tries to pin Smash right next to the ropes like a dumbass. Which, I do that in 2K when I forget which button lets you drag. What's his excuse?
I also don't remember the drag button since they've redone the mechanics, actually. I don't ever remember what the drag button is.
Yeah, exactly. But Haku don't gotta press a button. He just gotta grab and drag. So this allows Smash to get his second one, because, Smash gets the rope break, of course. I think he gets it on the 1 too. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So Smash gets a second win from this, and it's no, dumbass, if you're gonna pin someone next to the ropes, you got to do it from the other side, because he also then pins Haku next to the rope, but he gets between Haku and the ropes.
Yeah.
He's no, dipshit, you do it this way. Beautiful.
But Smash does get a win. One thing I will make note of here. On commentary, Gorilla is talking with Tony Schiavone about how is that Bobby Heenan is pocketing all of Haku's money and is allegedly investing it.
In what?
The joke is that Heenan's just stealing the money straight
up.
And he's just claiming that he is investing Haku's money.
So we got this great new thing for you called Bitcoin.
Oh man, Bobby Heenan was working in 2020.
Dude,
imagine he would have hopped cryptocurrency on air.
Imagine Bobby Heenan in the age of NFTs is all I'm saying.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, baby.
I can just hear Gorilla making fun of NFTs and Bobby Heenan trying to sell them.
Now, why would I need... Now, Brain, why would I need a JPEG of a monkey that I can just download?
You can just download...
You don't understand, Brain. It belongs to you.
You don't... It belongs to everyone who buys the same NFT, Brain.
Now, Brain, now, Gorilla, you clearly... don't spend enough time on r/Wall Street Bets. Oh god. Okay. So anyway, Heenan is incensed at the fact that Haku lost this skill issue, and he complains to Gorilla, and the interaction goes roughly like this. Well, Smash didn't get the pin there. Haku's shoulders were up. Gorilla said, his shoulder blades are what have to be down. And Heenan stops for a second and goes, well, sure, if you want to get technical. Oh, you'll get technical for Haku and
when it comes to the Heenan family, you get technical.
The Heenan family, you get technical. Beautiful.
And then he's just like, it's like these referees. You wonder why I got to jump up there. It's because I got to correct these ham and eggers.
I love
these humanoids.
I know, dude. I have to say, Heenan's insult game. It may not be great burns, but man, he sure gets creative with his language.
Yep. Calls the humanoids is what he calls the stupid people.
Humanoids. So do we cut to like what's his nuts at this point?
It's the first time we go to Sean Mooney.
Yeah, we go to Sean Mooney, who urges you, you the viewer, whatever you have to do to see this event, do it.
You gotta go to get to Toronto.
Fun fact: 3 people died due to this bit of advice.
Sean Mooney
said, whatever I have to do.
Sean Mooney has blood on his hands.
Yeah, right along with Vampiro, making people die of alcohol poisoning by saying brother too much.
Yep. So he does this stupid shilling and he cuts to Roddy Piper cutting a promo. I didn't get a ton of this promo. Not there was a ton here. But
I didn't note anything.
I got like the beginning and the end where he's like, you talk a lot, bad news, Brown. I talk a lot too, but I walk my talk. And then he says some shit. I don't even remember. But then I got down his final note line because I feel like we needed all to hear this. I know a lot of black beautiful men. I know lots of black beautiful women, and you ain't neither one of them, brother.
Roddy Piper, bisexual king?
I also thought Roddy Piper bisexual king.
I mean that fills my head with very stark imagery, I have to say. Also, gotta give props to you. Your Piper, very good.
I tried.
I quite like it. So Roddy Piper just accidentally spills to us what he gets up to on the weekends. Cool.
Hey,
you live your truth.
Then we get Heenan with the colossal connection where he just says super generic, like, if you think they're gonna go out there and lose, you're nuts. And you're wrong.
Okay. So I want to clarify this. So Demolition have beaten Colossal Connection twice during this feud and still haven't taken the belts. Did I understand that correctly?
I think so.
What the fuck? Why? Why have they not been title matches?
Because the classic WWE booking, you got to beat the champ to get a title match with the same champ. You can't.
Twice?
I've seen that before. Not good booking, mind you, but I've seen it.
Insane.
The funniest part is Heenan starts rambling about this is like the last time they're going to get a shot at the Colossal Connection, and then Andre goes, "Last time I got it right. Last time."
Well, I really need to emphasize this is really drawn out. Heenan goes, "Demolition. It's going to be the last time you," and Andre just cuts him off and goes, "Last time." I also see this just makes me want the ghost of Andre the Giant to follow me around and emphatically repeat my main point in any sentence. Any sentence.
He reminded me of when he was in the fucking like honeycomb commercial.
He was in a honeycomb commercial?
Yeah, and he's like, a delicious honey taste. Andre shows up at this kid's tree house to kind of steal their fucking breakfast cereal.
That's amazing.
That delicious honey taste. And it's like the way like his tone and like his bulging ass eyes reminded me of that.
Dude, every once in a while Andre could just be a living cartoon character, and it was great. So yeah, that was funny. I also got that. So next up we get Dusty Rhodes versus Conquistador number 2. Where is Conquistador number 1? First of all,
that's an interesting question that we don't have an answer to.
Is he one half of a tag team?
Yes, the Conquistadors are a tag team.
Okay, and the best part is he is like the most generic looking luchador maybe ever.
He's just in a full gold bodysuit and mask.
And the mask has it is just like when you picture a stereotypical luchador mask, it is that exact design. Which I feel the need to point out, Robbie friend of the show, Robbie Vance, literally made a joke wrestler with this exact, like, naming convention. As a meme, he has the two luchadors gimmick, which is just one guy who's two different luchadors. And they don't have names. They're just Luchador 1 and Luchador 2. Why are they doing this for real? What the fuck?
Yeah, the Los Conquistadors were a heel jobber team in the WWF in the 80s. And the only thing of note that anyone remembers is when Edge and Christian as a bit performed a match as the Conquistadors.
Deadlock talking about this.
Yeah.
And then didn't the Hardys later cosplay as the Conquistadors too to like beat them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like that being brought back as like a bit is like the most famous thing that the Conquistador gimmick has ever seen.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Meanwhile, Dusty is over here being insanely over. It's another, motherfucking squash match of course.
Dusty gets the win, then him and Sapphire Boogie.
Okay. Is it just me, or was there a point in the match where Dusty was out here trying to unmask Conquistador number 2?
I honestly skipped this match, but also that could be the case because remember, if we want to cycle back to the previously on worst match I've ever watched for this podcast, Lape and Lanny Poffo versus that dork in a red mask. I don't even remember his name. Like they made a point of on commentary in that match of like the idea that you're a bad person trying to hide your identity.
Yes,
mask. They went it's the J. Jonah Jameson argument.
Yeah,
played straight with baby.
Give me pictures of Conquistador number 2.
So like I wouldn't be surprised. Like in American wrestling before Lucha Libre really made its way into America through like WCW and ECW. The mass wrestling mass wrestlers weren't like respected. It was more like you are like it's not like the same way you look at like a burglar or like or a bank robber putting a mask over his face so people don't know who you are. Like it's kind of like if you have why are you trying to hide your identity? You got something to hide? Like that's the way that masked wrestlers are treated in America before Lucha Libre became more accepted within American wrestling culture.
This was a dark time for Lucha Libre in the States, man. Squash ass shit. I looked this up just because I was curious, because like Dusty stands like really tall next to Sapphire, and as a point of reference, Dusty was goddamn 6'2". My man was a fucking unit. Jesus. Mm-hmm. Also, it was only at this point that I noticed it was Tony Schiavone on commentary. A, I forgot he was actually in the Fed around this time, and B, whenever I hear him, I just assume it's Vince. On commentary, young Tony sounds a weird amount like young Vince on commentary. In my humble opinion.
I actually looked into this, and apparently Tony Schiavone looks back on leaving the WWF as a big career mistake on his part.
That's really funny because he
went back to WCW and he was like, he saw all these new people in charge and he's like, damn, this is not the same place. And then my man was committed to WCW to the end of that company. And oh boy, did he see some shit. And he was probably thinking, man, if only I hadn't quit the WWF in 1990.
Well, now he's with AEW, and
what a timeline where Tony Schiavone is the lead commentator on Raw with Jerry Lawler, and Jim Ross becomes the lead commentator on Nitro instead.
What the fuck? That would be so fucking insane.
Now, fans, we want to tell you, don't change that channel, because on the other channel, Mick Foley, he used to wrestle here as Cactus Jack, will win their world title. That'll put some butts in the seats.
Yeah, JR is actually just as much of a like ruthless ass politicker as young Schiavone was. Well, I still can't believe what a prick Schiavone was. And, like,
no. Let's not get that right. Schiavone had nothing to do with that. That was a Bischoff directive that he said that he buried Mick Foley live on commentary.
Okay, that's fair. The thing that Schiavone was a prick for was like basically hiding notes from his fellow commentators.
Oh well, who needs them? Who needs notes? WCW, they don't tell nothing to nobody. You just go.
Yeah. It was a very everyman. Anyway, so Tony out here makes the comment of everybody everybody out here loving Dusty polka dots and all, and he sounded vaguely confused when he said polka dots and all, and I can only imagine that was like Vince. That was a Vince directive, like bury the fuck out of that Southern clown by sounding confused when you talk about the polka dots.
Don't say the polka dots are stupid.
Say the polka dots are fucking dumb. Yeah. So also, okay, is Lord Alfred a heel at this juncture?
Yeah, so I kind of think he is. I've been paying attention to his commentary over these last few weeks, and I think he might kind of be a heel now.
What? I didn't realize he ever played heel.
Me neither.
Why? Yeah, because Lord Alfred is out here calling sensational Sherry Martel lovely, which, I don't mind, but, since she's a heel woman, this makes her uggo and disgusting.
Yeah, Gorilla calls Alfred over the hill for calling her lovely.
Alfred is out here being like, on further consideration, I actually found it quite attractive how she bound and gagged me at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah, that was when he realized he had a fetish.
True. Sexual awakening with Lord Alfred Hayes.
It was. So Heenan, I will say also after the match is Heenan says Heenan is like, hey, Dusty and Sapphire should start their own dance show. They like swing.
Or they
stand,
should be on American Bandstand.
Yeah, an American Bandstand. You can then call it Swine Stand or Oink Fever, something like that.
It's brilliant observation, Brain. Thank you.
Great-o.
All right, we cut back to the ring. The genius Lanny Poffo is in the ring. He's here to read a poem, which everybody hates. But I couldn't help but be here thinking about how the genius walked so the doctor of thugonomics could run.
That's true. Though I barely heard any of.
Someday he would be vindicated, and a man who also claimed to have some kind of academic degree would stand in the ring and speak rhyming verse to rhythm, and everyone would fucking love it.
So what you're saying is that the genius has a bachelor's in thugonomics. That's why he wears the graduation gear.
I see. There you go. He's considering applying for his master's. It's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
He said he is apparently wearing a conspicuous hat. I don't know enough about fashion to understand the joke here.
It's a graduation cap.
It's apparently something different. I don't know. I didn't get it. They were making a big deal about the kind of hat he was wearing to cover his bald spot, but
I still can't believe they did that to him. And then he's in the ring with a guy named Omar Atlas, and
yeah.
I'm getting a distinct scent of produce. Is that squash that I smell right now?
Did not know how you were taking that bit. I took a note on Mr. Perfect's picture-in-picture promo, and in the time it took me to type that note, Mr. Perfect hit the perfect plex and won.
Yeah, it's not even the genius. It's not even like Perfect sending the genius to do his dirty work. It's Perfect himself. Genius was just out here to introduce Perfect, which Lord Alfred refers to Perfect as like the excellence of execution. Isn't that fucking Brett's thing?
Well, it was a thing they like to throw around a lot, especially Gorilla did it until Brett. They did it. They got big with Brett, and then suddenly that became like his moniker, and they stopped saying.
Yeah.
It.
Okay.
But like before, Brett was a big singles guy. Yeah, the excellence of execution was a phrase that was said infrequently.
It was okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, Perfect for the dub. Back to the control center.
Yeah, Gorilla.
I don't know what the line here was. Maybe you'll be able to help me out here. But the note I have, and I can't remember what the context for this was. The note I have is Heenan out here unironically putting over the Sky Dome, and Gorilla says "fuck you."
Yeah. Okay. So So after they give a brief little bit about how like Gorilla's like, Brutus Beefcake is gonna give that haircut to Perfect, and Heenan's like, Beefcake's got no chance. So as Gorilla is trying to cut to the next thing, Heenan interrupts him and he's like, hey, I got a friend who's an American League umpire in baseball. And he said you wouldn't even believe how beautiful the Sky Dome facilities are. Though any place he gets in free, he likes. And Gorilla goes like, you and he are the same in that regard.
Okay. I didn't catch the he gets in for free part. Okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Heenan in his own way putting over the Sky Dome, very charitable.
Yeah, he does.
Also, this is the point that I really took note of, like, Heenan and Brain have really built up their own little special place in this control room. They just have like a bunch of random like trinkets scattered about.
They do. They have acquired trinkets throughout their times, and just still here.
So Gorilla has a little like WrestleMania 6 baseball cap on his side of the desk, and also like this little like stuffed turtle.
It's the mascot of the Sky Dome.
Yeah, Domer. We'll get there. Domer, yeah, that gets mentioned later. I just thought it was like a random turtle plushie, and I'm like, that's cute. Also, Heenan has a banana phone on his side of the.
I love his banana. The banana phone.
Fucking iconic. I need that. All right. So they're plugging, WrestleMania again. Here's how you can call to buy tickets. Heenan gives out the phone number in the most annoying way possible.
Oh yeah, because he's like, well, you see the people we got to talk, we got to play to out here. I got to make sure they know.
Yeah, he's like, now, you're gonna press 2, and then you're gonna press the number right next to it on the keypad. That's the number 3. And then and then you're gonna hit the number 9 4 times. And it's and so I make the note of like Heenan's being as annoying as possible about this, and then right when I finish writing that, Gorilla goes, "Boy, you really made that clear." That got a good belly laugh out of me.
Yeah.
Next match, and all right, you poor man, you suffered for this one. The next match, I
previously made a note. I as a reference I didn't even intend to call back to that. There, about Lanny Poffo versus the Red. I'm blanking on the name.
Is Red whatever the fuck?
As the worst match I've ever watched for this podcast, and as it turns out, it's got some stiff competition because the next match is Al Perez versus the Red Rooster.
Yeah.
And first of all, Red Rooster comes out in his fucking theme song.
Yeah, the Red Rooster theme song is very annoying.
And then apparently...
it starts with like a rooster crow, but then it's just kind of like generic, which is annoying in its own way.
Yeah, so... Lord Alfred Hayes
already in the ring. I assume this is going to be a squash match.
I also thought this was going to be a squash. No, it wasn't. Lord Alfred, I should have known because Lord Alfred talks about Al Perez or somebody being in the top 10, to which I want to know what rankings you're looking at, Lord Alfred Hayes, where either of these men are in the top 10.
I will say Red Rooster is out here like super over, and it makes me wonder like which wrestlers of our generation are like super over now but then will be like absolutely lost to time, because like Red Rooster's big right now, but nobody fucking talks about Red Rooster. I don't even know if it'll work like that in our generation because the internet kind of changes all of that.
It's true,
but it's just it's a really interesting phenomenon.
I'm trying to think who might.
I don't know. I don't want to like actually condemn any of our current like people that we follow.
I guess because like I think part of it is like everyone looks back on the Red Rooster and is like he fucking sucked, and I'd hate to be too mean to anyone currently going now.
Yeah.
I guess it's somewhat fascinating to think about, but oh god.
Yeah. Okay. So there is okay. So the thing with Red Rooster, I fucking hate his hair. Oh my god, I hate his hair.
Yeah, so what they
Spiking
did
up-
is they spike up the middle of his hair in a bright red mohawk. Because,
Yeah,
that's what you have to
spiking up
represent
and
a
dyeing
rooster.
the front middle part of a mullet should be illegal. What the fuck? I hate looking at it. I hate thinking about it. Blech. Awful.
All right, and
Meanwhile,
my
Al
first
Perez out
actual
here
note.
vaguely looking like Seth Rollins.
I thought he vaguely looked like Barry Horowitz, to the point where I actually had to look it up to make sure he wasn't the same guy. Which he's not. He is a guy who was a relatively successful journeyman wrestler throughout the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, I actually took notes on that too. I'll get there. I have a weird amount of notes.
First note of this match, I wrote, "Stop strutting around, you stupid fuck," because I hated the Red Rooster strutting like a chicken whenever it was appropriate for him to walk like that. I was so mad immediately.
Dude, I went in assuming this was going to be another squash, and then the longer it went on, I'm like, so at first it goes on long enough that I'm like, it's very funny to me that Rooster is the only one here with like a squash match where his opponent actually does well against him. But then it keeps on going. I'm like, oh no, this is not a squash match. This is an actual like bout. All right. So I don't hate Red Rooster from a work perspective. He seems like he has.
He's technically fine. It's why he's a good.
Like he has some.
It's why he became a trainer when he retired.
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. So I made the note of like, very much like of the new age style of wrestling. He's fast paced and more acrobatic, and like it's nothing impressive. It's like it feels like baby's first like modern wrestling work style.
Except he's a rooster man.
Yeah, that's the thing. But Jesus Christ, his gimmick fucking sucks. But yeah. So, and I went on as this went on to dive more into this. We'll get there as we get there. We cut away partway through the match to do a commercial break. I forgot they just kind of did that. See, I thought they were just gonna end showing the match there, and I was like, "That's funny," but no, they keep it going afterward. We cut away from the match to only Gorilla because Brain is out of the studio right now, apparently on the phone because his ticket scalping has like been falling through a little bit, and he's getting yelled at.
He doesn't have the tickets.
Customers, yeah, and he's trying to like schmooze. They cut back to the ring. I didn't take all that many match notes. It did kind of go on a while. Red Rooster manages to survive 2 different sleeper holds.
I have so many notes, and normally I skip around a lot of my notes. I don't usually try to do beat by beat notes. If actually talk on the podcast, because that would slow the pacing down of the show. I want to read through all of these notes in order so we can kind of follow my state of mind through this match.
No.
All right. Al Perez slaps the shit out of Rooster, and Rooster chases him to the outside. Al Perez beating that cock with some fine wrestling maneuvers. I'm still in a jovial mood here as we get to the early parts of this match.
He's really teaching him off.
Yeah. Lord Alfred Hayes claims Red Rooster is allowing Perez to use these holds on him. Fucking idiot.
Wait, is Rooster a heel here? What?
I think he's a babyface. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's over his shit. Whatever.
Headlock by Perez. Roll up by Rooster. Headlock. Roll up. Headlock. Roll up.
That was Rooster, a fun sequence. I did like that.
That was the last time I felt any joy in this match.
Period. That is the last time Austin will ever feel joy in his life ever again.
That's right. Rooster slowly gets up and fights out of the hole. Big shoulder block off the ropes. Al Perez powders to the outside, holding his lower back. Can this match be over now? Red Rooster now has Al Perez in a hold. Rooster gets a backslide pin, 2 count, and back in the arm hold. Just so much back and forth action here. Al Perez with a jumping knee to the arm of the Rooster, only a 2 count. What a tremendous matchup. What a tremendous lie, Gorilla. Heenan... Heenan apparently desperately trying to get the tickets that he promised to a bunch of people. LOL. We come back from commercial to this match still happening. Al Perez has Rooster in a headlock, putting me and Red Rooster to sleep. Red Rooster hits a back suplex. He tries to follow up.
So slipper number 1 that Rooster has survived.
Yeah. Red Rooster hits a back suplex. He tries to follow up, but Perez counters and falls on Rooster, and back to the headlock. Al Perez,
sleeper number 2 that
Al
Rooster
Perez
survives.
Yeah, Al Perez locks in a sleeper. Rooster desperately reaching for the ropes. Red Rooster is down and out. Ref checks in his arm. Rooster gets the arm up in 2.
You know how that goes.
Jawbreaker by Rooster to get out of the sleeper. Rooster with a big punch and a bulldog to Perez. Rooster just pounding Perez's head into the mat. That was pretty nuts. Rooster does an arm DDT? ? I think they talked about the chicken wing. I guess this might be it. Where he literally like grabs somebody by the arm and then just DDTs him on the arm. Okay. Yes. Rooster pulls up Perez, and Perez ducks the Rooster. Perez crossbodies Red Rooster, and they both go to the floor. They brawl on the floor.
Before you finish, I do want to point out that it was at this point, this shit had dragged on so much that I was just Googling fucking Al Perez and Rooster out of curiosity. Yeah, Al Perez has had like actually a pretty solid career, it seems like. That's nice. Rooster has been in and out of WWF too many fucking times to count, and WCW for that matter. And is now an NXT trainer. Okay. And also Rooster was not young here. I assume this man was like 20, maybe. I thought we were in like 1, 2, 3 kid territory of like, we have a young kind of prodigy who we're trying to push. No. My man was 34 years old, going around, done up like a motherfucking cock.
This sucks.
Why?
And then
this was the level to which I had descended.
They brawl on the floor for a double count out. Fuck this match.
Double count out. All of that. What I assumed had to have been a squash.
And what might have been the longest match on the show.
They booked them for a 15 and ended it in a double count out.
This is my worst match that I've ever watched for this podcast.
I can't agree with that. We've watched so much direct. I don't have nearly the amount of vitriol. I thought it was fine. It was dumb. It was boring.
I would like to go back to WrestleLicious quality matches.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've watched WrestleLicious, Austin. How the fuck can you say this is worse?
Because they were much shorter and much funnier, because of the gimmicks.
I don't know. I kind of wanted to die that entire time, but okay.
I'm not buying 3 DVDs of the Red Rooster like I bought 3 DVDs of WrestleLicious. I'll tell you that.
You make a good point. No, damn, I can't argue with the purchasing power. Okay, anyway.
And then they get back in the ring, brawl with each other. Rooster punches Al Perez out of the ring, and then he starts clucking his head like a fucking chicken.
And his music hits, and they cut back to the control room where Heenan makes the tremendous point, actually, of why the fuck are they playing Rooster's music? He took the L, technically.
And then Gorilla doesn't have a good answer for this. First,
Gorilla says, Al Perez just doesn't have any music. And Heenan counters with the, once again, tremendous point of, you can play La Cucaracha or something. I love Heenan so much, dude. It'd be really funny if they started playing the chicken dance. That would be funny.
Okay, so we're segueing to the Brother Love segment. And first of all, Heenan is trying to sell to the audience. He's like, I want you people to watch this this is funny because Heenan goes, I want people to watch this segment, and grows, I want them to watch it too. And Heenan is he's trying to sell how he wants the people to see how loving and caring Brother Love is.
Yeah.
As a person. But this is the same segment from WWF Superstars that I ignored. I didn't talk about. in the front half because I knew it would probably be in this episode. But thank you, brothers and sisters.
Oh my god, I fucking hate looking at his face. It makes me so uncomfortable, the fact that it's just painted red.
Yeah, he says that recently his benefactor, Brother $1 Million Man, has had his property stolen from him. But at WrestleMania, he will get his property back.
Yeah, so of course Jake comes out to dick on Brother Love.
Brother Love just comes out to call him a thief, and Jake is like, you're gonna mudsling, don't wear a white suit.
Hey.
And then he's like, hey, you don't dare a man to do something and expect him not to do it. He dared me to take his belt, and so I did it.
See, okay, and he's still got the $1 million belt in the Damien bag. And okay, I feel like the it's in the bag, come give it shtick works until you realize you could just like pick up the bag and dump out the contents, stomp on the snake if necessary. I feel like the solution here is not all that difficult.
But they're
if
too
you think
scared.
about it.
They're all too scared of the snake. It's not gonna work.
You can just grab the outside of the bag. The snake's not gonna be able to get you through the fucking burlap.
Listen, they're not thinking this through. They're just too scared to put their hand in the bag.
Also, oh my god, we get this this deeply uncomfy camera angle where Brother Love is like the camera's below Brother Love and he's like staring directly down into it, bellowing at us. Thanks, I hate it. So Jake.
I feel like they were probably trying to emulate televangelists, but I don't know.
Probably.
I'm not watching any televangelists to confirm that that's what they were going for.
And I mean, cool. I hate that too. Why are you making me see it here?
Mm-hmm. So Jake says he only even came out here because he wants to introduce people to a man who can't be bought. Not a changed man, but a boss man.
Yes, the boss man face turn is gone through, and oh my god, the audience is losing their fucking.
And honestly, this is where this segment to me became absolutely hilarious.
Okay, yes.
So first of all, so boss man gets all up in Brother Love's face, and then Jake is just ranting about like you, $1 Million Man, Virgil, Sherry, whatever. He just lists a bunch of heels. And he's like, they say that all birds of a feather flock together. And then Bossman pipes up, so brother, just flock off.
I missed that, but that's great. Oh my god.
Flock off.
Flock off. I love that, actually.
So Bossman and Jake leave. And so Brother Love, because he doesn't know when to quit at all, he goes, now I've been thinking about it. And one of the lowest forms of life is a snake. Roll on the ground, crawling on the ground with their belly touching it. But there is one thing lower than a snake, and that's a law enforcement officer who won't take money.
Hold up. Okay, so I need to share with you how this happened for me, because he says that, and I immediately slam the pause button so I can write notes, because this was when him staring down at the camera angle happens. So I'm like, okay, two big things I need to. So I slam on the pause button, and I'm like, first of all, I fucking hate that camera angle. Second of all, the Brother Love says, "A-cab, hole up, let him cook." I knew I always liked that Brother Love guy. Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn right. And then I hit play, and he goes, a law enforcement officer who won't take money. And never mind. Brother Love says, actually, I think the cops should be even bigger bastards.
Listen, I know that this is WWF in 1990. All the heels are fucking cartoon villains. But also, this is the most insane logic I have ever heard.
I know!
Cops are actually the ones who won't take payoffs.
What is happening? More corrupt cops.
that Brother Love support, and Jesse Ventura, by the way, he agrees wholeheartedly and says so. Jesse Ventura, future governor of Minnesota,
Libertarian
says
governor.
we need more corruption in the police force.
Well, to be fair, from Jesse Ventura's libertarian ass lens, it would just be we need less regulation, shakes fists clouds or whatever. Yeah, he more corrupt, bribe taking female police officers.
Yes,
that's the woke way to do it.
Yes, exactly.
So because of this, Big Boss Man comes out and arrests Brother Love.
No, hold on. Before we get to that nonsense, I do love that as soon as Boss Man walks back out, Brother Love goes, no, I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, yeah, again, the immediate, heel coward bullshit.
Because there's so many cops that he knows that don't take payoffs that he could not possibly be talking about Boss Man.
Absolutely.
Boss Man is like, I don't need no rare face punk like you running down me in the law. You're under arrest.
Yeah, Big Boss Man comes out, arrests Brother Love, and Jesse Ventura correctly questions on what charges.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
The violence. We're seeing the violence inherent in this system.
Absolutely.
Brother Love is being oppressed.
Brilliant systemic critique. First Amendment rights for Brother Love. I may not agree with what he has to say, but I'll defend to my death his right to say.
I'm not ever saying that phrase out loud.
I do it so you don't have to.
Yeah, this is nuts. He is arrested for criticizing cops?
Absolutely, as it should be. And the audience of course loves normal country.
Hey, if Brother Love doesn't like it, he can damn sure leave it.
Damn sure leave. That filthy commie, Brother Love.
Brother Love suspected of communism. That's true.
True.
Why do you think his face is red?
Oh shit, buddy. It's all
there the whole time.
Messaging. Fucking oh yeah, McCarthy's going hard after him. He was the top of his list.
Anyway, Brother Love gets handcuffed to the guardrail, and Big Boss is like, I'll be right back. You stay here.
And Brother Love is like screaming, crying, pissing, shitting, the works.
He's like, I love you. Let me go. I love you.
He's not taking this well.
So, Boss Man comes back with his fucking ball and chain.
A fucking ball and chain! What is not a prop that I was aware Big Boss Man just casually carried around with him.
He has it in his locker room? He just keeps a ball and chain there?
Yeah. He brings out a literal ball and chain, unhandcuffs Brother Love, and starts dragging him to the ring with the ball and chain in hand. By the way, my man, Big Boss Man, is not at all selling the weight of this supposed
how heavy this stupid thing's supposed to be.
Ball and chain. Also, It's so bizarre to me they had the Brother Love show set at the top of the ramp and not in the ring. Why?
They haven't worked that out. We can do talk shows in the ring yet.
Weren't they already doing that?
No.
I don't know.
No, all the talk shows up to this point were not in the ring.
Okay. So Big Boss Man drags Brother Love to the ring, throws him to the ring mat, and then drops the ball.
Well, okay. First, he's like, "You're going to jail, boy," and Jesse is like, "You're taking him to the jail. That's the ring. That's not jail." And then Vince is like, and then Vince McMahon pops up with, "The ring is his jail, Jesse."
Oh my God! Thank you, Vince.
So Big Boss Man hits a spine buster on Brother Love, and then he drops the ball and chain on Brother Love's gut.
Which that man is dead now. He's
dead?
Deceased.
Done, but ha.
No, the ball and chain just harmlessly fucking bounces off of him, and Brother Love sells it as though he's just been police brutality, which he has a point.
It's so funny watching Brother Love get beaten by a cop.
Absolutely, I love it.
When was Rodney King again? I want to make sure I have the timeline on that right.
I think it might have been 1990.
The riots were 92.
Oh,
but
Rodney.
that doesn't mean that's not when like the incident.
I mean, it was a pretty close inciting incident, so it was probably 91, 92.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the riots were 92, so close enough.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, this is great. But I mean, they keep the Big Boss Man gimmick for the entire
After
era.
that,
so you know, Vince, his own little bubble. He doesn't know. He doesn't care.
So they're laughing, and then after they go back to the control center. Heenan gets mad at Gorilla for laughing.
Heenan also making the correct point that Big Boss Man's tactics here are actually kind of fucking scummy.
Yeah, Heenan's like, hey, Boss Man's used to working over some guy who didn't make his alimony payment. Because remember, we all call him a cop, and ostensibly they kind of treat what a cop and a correctional officer as the same fucking thing in the way he's presented. But technically he's a correctional officer. And he talks about how Big Boss Man just beats up on dudes who committed petty crime. And Heenan's like, deep down, Big Boss Man is a coward and a bully.
Yeah, and we get like this intense zoom in on Heenan's face as he delivers this address very seriously. And man,
it's the most serious I've ever seen Bobby Heenan.
If being a 90s heel entitled saying a cab, I don't want to be a 90s baby face.
I guess so.
So once again, hawking more WrestleMania 6. Unironically, this card looks pretty solid, not gonna lie. We have Jake the Snake Roberts versus $1 Million Man. That'll be sick. Brutus Beefcake versus Mr. Perfect. That'll probably be pretty sick. Big Boss Man versus Hakeem. Well, they can't all be winners. Hercules versus Earthquake, which but also like I think we've reached the crossover point where he stopped being the Canadian Earthquake. I think he's just Earthquake now.
They finally realized that he didn't need the Canadian Earthquake was a little much. Because he gets the promo that I didn't write notes for anything, but I didn't know he did.
I didn't, yeah.
That he doesn't have the Canadian flag on his singlet anymore.
Yeah, so oh my god, we've hit the nexus point, Austin. I didn't realize this canon event would be hitting in the middle of this arc.
Nice.
And then of course Ultimate Challenge for the main event. That'll be probably sick. There's still but you know, WrestleMania is not the only WWE or WWF PLV they're hawking. They're still selling those Royal Rumble VHSs. Be sure to get your Royal Rumble VHSs.
After all this, we cut back to Bobby Heenan begging Gorilla for like 50 tickets.
I couldn't decipher what they were fully talking about here. I'm just wondering why they still haven't started aggressively making out.
He's trying to get tickets, and Gorilla's like, haha, I'm not giving you those. If you're such a good personal friend of Jack Tunney like you say you are, why don't you go talk to him? And Heenan's like, well, you know, if I talk to him, it'll be a whole thing.
I love them. I love them so much. But joy doesn't last in this world, unfortunately, as we cut over to Honky.
He's a honky tonk man. He's a honky tonk man.
Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, Joy.
This is a match from Superstar, so this is a match I got to watch twice.
Okay, this was me. I'm out here trying to give Honky Tonk Man a second chance. Also, speaking of like Nexus points at canon events, where the match is being reffed by pre-crisis Danny Davis.
It'd be post-crisis Danny Davis, you mean?
Wait, is this after the whole heel?
This is after the heel shtick. He's just turned babyface now, and he's just a normal referee.
Well, that's kind of a weird trajectory. I just assumed...
They even called it out. Vince talked about Vince during an episode of Superstars. Vince was talking about how great a referee Danny Davis is, and Jesse's like, I remember you used to hate Danny Davis. What changed, McMahon? And he was like, you started liking Danny Davis when he started favoring your favorites.
Yeah, that's how that works. Good job, Jesse. Great powers of observation there. You did it. Okay, so post-crisis Danny Davis, pardon me. Okay, so Honky Tonk Man is actually quite physically gifted, I will say. He's quick, he's strong, he sells incredibly well, And next to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, his dumb fuck gimmick seems fine, actually.
Duh.
Yes.
He is the greatest Elvis impersonator wrestling has ever seen, and I think you should put more respect on his name.
True. A very oversaturated market, but he manages to stand out.
But he managed to stand out among the crowd.
Among the crowd of all the wrestlers trying to impersonate Elvis. No, true.
This match is whatever. It ends in shenanigan bullshit as
Greg Valentine.
Yeah, him and Honky Tonk Man are a tag team, Rhythm and Blues.
Oh, okay. I was
so
like, what the fuck is his connection?
Out comes Greg Valentine to attack Duggan, and while they're just brawling on the outside, full ass view of the referee. Good. Honky Tonk Man goes and gets his guitar, just like brandishes it over his head as he turns around the ring. And Duggan blocks him from hitting the guitar on him. And then the match gets thrown out. They just start fighting 2-on-1.
Valentine and Honky Tonk are just dumbasses who don't know how to do their shenanigans surreptitiously, so the match gets thrown out.
Yeah, so Duggan gets back in the ring to get his 2x4, and it scares off the heels. But then Duggan sees that Honky left his guitar in the ring. And he takes the guitar, and Honky and is like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And then Jim Duggan destroys the guitar with a 2x4.
As we know, Honky Tonk Man only has one guitar, and he doesn't let so much as a scratch get on it. It's not like he regularly breaks it over the head of all of his opponents and is, in the gimmick that definitely inspired Jeff Jarrett to everything he's ever done. Of course. This is an absolute tragedy. We do get this great freeze frame on Honky Tonk Man looking very upset. Yeah, that's exactly it. His eyes are kind of squinted in despair. His mouth is hanging open while he's yelling. His hair slightly flying about as he
it's so funny.
Why don't we get freeze frames after every match, Austin? Because that was magical.
Yeah, it's so funny. They freeze. They call out the freeze frame here. Then we go back to the control center where Heenan claims that the guitar is not a weapon.
Wait, I need to quote this exchange directly. Because Heenan says what everybody's thinking. Why they let him being Hacksaw have that board is beyond me. Preach, brother. Gorilla says, well, that's Gorilla says of Honky Tonk's guitar, well, aren't you fine with him having the guitar? That's a weapon. No, sorry. Yeah, Heenan goes, why they let Hacksaw have that board is beyond me. That's a weapon. Well, isn't a guitar a weapon? And Heenan, with a dead straight face and matter-of-fact tone, goes, no, it's an instrument. Preach, brother.
No, and the Gorilla's like, is that an instrument when he attacks, when he swings it at people? Breaks it over their head, and Heenan goes, I mean, he doesn't attack. He only does that when he is being attacked. That's self-defense.
Yeah, he claims it's only self-defense, which is fucking hysterical. And
then he's like, he only does. No, he says it when he says that Honky Tonk only does it when people come at him. And Gorilla goes, well, everyone comes at Honky when they start hearing him sing. And Bobby Heenan goes, now hold on, Bobby, I think Honky Tonk Man is a great singer.
Hold on. Well, I mean, if everyone's coming at him while he's singing, he must have some magical lilt to his voice. Phrasing. Gorilla, please. Beautiful. We cut back to Sean Mooney in the other control center, which I made the observation, Sean Mooney looks like a human version of Guy Smiley from Sesame Street, the newspaper reporter, which, to make sure that I got this right, it led me to Google Guy Smiley just to double check. And while I was not technically wrong, Guy Smiley, just as a sidebar, has much messier hair most of the time than I ever remember him having. Most of the pictures of him have this really unkempt hair, but I swear to God, sometimes he does have coiffed hair. And when he has coiffed hair, Sean Mooney just looks like Guy Smiley, made into a human.
I
Google
see
it.
it.
Check it out. I'm not wrong. I will fight anybody on this.
Demolition and Dusty Rhodes each have promos where they don't
Man,
really say anything.
Demolition's face paint designs belong in fucking MoMA. I hate looking at them, but I feel compelled by them regardless. Dusty Rhodes. So we get a generic ass promo from Demolition. I did write down stuff about Dusty's promo because boy. So Dusty explains mixed tag matches in a way that's almost annoying his brain reading off a fucking phone number. As he put it so eloquently, for those of you who don't understand what that means, that's me and Sapphire live and in color. Which it took me like 10 rewatches to understand what the fuck he said there. It's me and Sapphire live and in color, and the Macho King and one Miss Sherry on the other side, and women and dudes ought to be something unintelligible that I could not get. Yes, that explains everything. Thank you, Dusty.
Yeah.
And then Sapphire comes in, and it just gets more unintelligible from here because Sapphire is also from like down south. So when the two of them talk, it does that thing that Southerners do, where the more they talk to each other, the thicker their accents get. I was like, I need the fucking Rosetta Stone. Help me. So
we finally
they're having a mixed tag match.
And we finally get to our feature, Rick Rude.
Yes.
Now, this is the first time on this podcast we've ever gotten a proper Rick Rude entrance.
Okay, before that, I have one more control center.
Okay.
So they're talking about Domer, the cute little turtle plushie who's apparently the Skydome's mascot, and how they'll see Domer probably in full mascot suit walking around at Skydome.
That sounds terrifying.
I think it's cute. Domer looks cute. Bobby the Brain Heenan asks the most philosophical of questions that scholars are still pondering to this day. But Brain asks Gorilla, what's the difference between a mascot and an ascot? I'm afraid to ask. An ascot goes from the waist up. A mascot goes from the waist down. What? Gorilla responds with a just dead face of disappointment. What the fuck
does that even mean?
I mean, technically an ascot goes from the waist up. You do typically put an ascot above the waist and then it goes around the neck, but a mascot goes from the waist down? What? What the fuck? And then Heenan picks up the Domer plushie. And he goes, fun fact, something people don't know about turtles. And silly David thought for a second that maybe Bobby the Brain Heenan actually was a bit of a turtle enthusiast and was actually going to share an actual cute fun fact because he knows things about turtles and he wants to special interest ramble at us. But no, he goes, something people don't know about turtles, throws the fucking Domer plushie up into the air and says, they don't fly too well. Bobby! And then he looks at Domer down on the floor and goes, well, he's shell-shocked.
Bobby was on something on this bit.
I'm done. Oh my fucking god. Bobby, I don't think Bobby needed to be on anything. I think Bobby the Brain Heenan was just like this. My man was a comedic genius, underappreciated, undervalued in his time. I'm glad we, the Noobs and Knockouts podcast, have come around to enlighten the universe about his brilliance. Thank you, Bobby, for teaching us that mascots go waist down and ascots go waist up. I feel true. So... Okay, anyway. So, Rick Rude, I gotta say, I kind of dig Rick Rude's theme music.
Oh, hell yeah. Rick Rude is sweet.
A great, like, high energy, like, jazz. I'm digging it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I'd like to have right now is for all you fat, out of shape Arizona
I want to point out he says that and then cut to a dude in the crowd who is a bit overweight, and I'm like, that's
Hell yeah.
mean.
Camera work was fucking on it with these crowd shots for this.
My man looks not pleased either. He's like, you son of a bitch.
To keep the noise down while I take my robe off and show the body that lives in every woman's
fantasy. Well, speaking of camera on point, while he's talking about taking the robe off, they cut to this kid in the crowd. He looked like a teenager who what I can only describe is the street sign language for you have a small penis, because with one hand he's pointing down and with the other he's like squinting his like thumb and index finger together, so it's like something small in between. Which
I forgot about him trying to say that Rick Rude had a small penis.
Which, points for creativity. Most people would just bring a sign. No, my man made sign language out of it.
1998, they're bringing a sign that says Rick Rude has a small Venus.
As a small no. Hate. Okay.
Fortunately for us all, Rick Rude was already dead by 1998.
Oof. Yeah, okay. So Rick Rude strips.
Hit my music. And he strips. They find as many women in the crowd that look interested as they can find.
There is one chick who's just fucking like snapping.
She got a fucking She got the Polaroid camera.
She's got the Polaroid out, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then Roddy Garvin comes out. He doesn't have entrance music. I have not actually seen this in action yet, where like the second competitor to come out just doesn't have music, but the first one did. It was surreal, slightly unsettling. I didn't realize that in 1990 there were still motherfuckers without entrance music. I don't even know how that worked, that like only some motherfuckers had entrance music. Seems
it's
weird.
Just Ronnie Garvin. Who cares?
I guess.
Ronnie Garvin gives his gross red towel to some random kid in the crowd
who looks absolutely thrilled for some reason.
But then Tony Schiavone called this out. Is Ronnie Garvin shook Bobby Heenan's hand? Could there be, David, cahoots?
I did not like that very much. I, in fact, hated that. I'm so fucking sick of cahoot. Why can we not escape cahoots, Austin, as a trope? Please, I'm begging for release.
There will always be cahoots.
Well, except they don't do jack fuck with that in this match.
No, they don't, because fuck them. It's a red herring.
I didn't mind, but also, why the fuck? So this is another one where we like cut away from the match to commercial break and control center. Did you have any match notes before that?
Sure, I got a few. Rick Rude, when they start up getting a headlock, huge weasel chant start nearly immediately.
Yeah, what the fuck was up with that?
Because Bobby Heenan's a weasel. They're chanting it. They're chanting it at Heenan. There were several times in this match, and I found it funny every single time, where Rick Rude would hit a move and then swivel his hips, and then Ronnie Garvin hit him.
Kept happening.
It's like the OG of Danny Garcia's.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, because we've been seeing Daniel Garcia create a whole personality out of fucking like putting his arms up and swiveling his hips in a suggestive manner. I guess he's been watching a lot of Rick Rude recently.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Rick Rude is broke. Rick Rude is the spiritual predecessor to Val Venus. Woke. Rick Rude is the spiritual predecessor to Danny Garcia.
That's correct. My favorite of this was, and this might be after the break, but since I'm talking about it now, is
either way
they're doing the run the rope spots where you guy runs and you jump over him and all that. Rick Rude jumps over Ronnie Garvin and immediately starts swiveling his hips, and so Ronnie Garvin just turns around and hits him.
I do appreciate that Ronnie Garvin kept using it to get his licks in. While Rick Rude's constant hip gyrations are a bit much for me, my dude does have a great athleticism to it, so I'll allow it. And also the Ronnie Garvin like dicking on him constantly, no pun intended, is
I also loved it when Rick Rude had Ronnie Garvin in the headlock, and while he was in the headlock, he started swiveling the hips.
Absolutely, every opportunity you can take.
But then we go in halfway through the match. We go back to the control center, and it is Bobby Heenan on the phone trying.
No brain this time. It's no just Bobby. Here.
But Heenan
gorilla,
he is on the phone telling his person on the other line that they need to call Jack Tunney and say that they need 50 tickets for the orphanage.
Kids at the orphanage.
And he's an exact quote from Bobby Heenan. Yeah. No, it's not lying. Just tell him you need 40 tickets for the orphanage. I know you.
Yeah, he suddenly negotiates it down to 40, which okay.
He's so desperate. He's like, any amount of tickets you can get a hold of.
Oh, Heenan, you piece of shit.
You scoundrel.
And the best part is they offer no commentary. Heenan offers no commentary about the match here. It's just the shtick of him trying to finesse tickets, which I think is great. So we go back to the match. Is Ronnie Garvin's finisher a fucking sharpshooter?
Yeah, remember the slammer jammer. Remember, they talked
weird name for a sharpshooter.
When I talked about I think they were calling it the reverse figure 4 actually.
Oh, yes, that's what it was. Yeah, the reverse figure 4.
But it's a fucking sharpshooter.
Yes.
Now, it won't be called that until Brett gets it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a sharpshooter. It's the same move.
Yes, correct.
But the match finishes Ronnie Garvin, by the way, kicks a ton of ass. He kicks Rude's ass a lot in this match.
Yeah, he's actually really talented.
He does. He hits like the Garvin stomps multiple times. Which is basically he like walks around a prone Rude and just stomps on his arm. Then he stomps on his legs. Then he stomps on his other arm. Then he stomps on his head. Randy Orton would take that move.
He would
use it. But okay, Ronnie Garvin is going for the slammer jammer reverse figure 4, whatever. And but Bobby Heenan jumps up to like distract Garvin so Garvin can't hit it. So, but then Garvin hits like a bunch of big moves all in a row. And then they are going at the ropes. Both men headbutt each other. And they're both down.
Fucked.
And then Rude gets up first. He pins Garvin. And they're both like near the ropes. Garvin gets his foot on the rope. Bobby Heenan walks past and pushes Garvin's foot off the rope,
which is hilarious. And Rude gets the pin for 1, 2, 3
win.
For the win. And we cut back to the control center, and Gorilla's like, "Now what the fuck was that?"
He calls him a despicable lowlife.
Yeah.
And Bobby's response is like, no, you see, I was just walking by.
You haven't heard the whole story, Gorilla.
You haven't heard the whole story, Gorilla. Is that he was just walking by, and Ronnie Garvin's leg just kicked out and almost hit Heenan. He just barely avoided getting kicked in the face. And, it's not his fault.
Pushed it away for self-defense.
It's not his fault that Garvin couldn't keep his leg on the ropes.
Yup. So that's that excuse. Great. So that's that. That was the final match. It wasn't bad, but oh my god, that finish.
That's hilarious. It's hilarious. We get some the follow
with Lord Alfred putting on his like epic boy voice for some reason. Like he's trying to like deepen it and sound cool. So like Rolaids are the only antacids that come in an assortment of mint flavors, which so intimidating that I felt personally attacked by that.
Great. After the ad reads, a Gorilla runs down the Mania 6 card again for everybody, and he lists off the big features for next week. He talks about how next week is the Bushwhackers versus the Powers of Pain, and Bobby Heenan chimes in that the Bushwhackers are living proof that the Three Stooges had children.
Did catch that one, and he's not wrong. I will say, as we close out here, this episode is a great case study in just how differently shit was advertised back in 1990. Like, it was just so much more blatant. Like, they would just stop the fucking show to turn to the camera and be like, buy tickets to WrestleMania,
we're doing ad reads.
Yeah, and like they had the whole like cutaway segment for like all the shows cutting up. You don't got Excalibur on mic trying to set world records for announcing as many matches in like as short amount of time as possible. They get their own fucking segments.
Excalibur running a WrestleMania report would take like 2 minutes tops,
if that, right? And the thing is, I'm not even sure it's like more advertising than we see on AEW in the year of our Lord 23. It's just more blatant.
They just have a dedicated moment of the show where we are just gonna
instead of just like shouting it out all the time, but like during matches. It's just fascinating. And this episode just felt like it was 50% fucking WrestleMania shilling. So that was interesting. Wild shit. That was
a perfectly fine episode of primetime wrestling.
Perfectly fine. Primetime wrestling is too long for me at 2 hours. But you know, it's fine, and it's worth it for watching Heenan and Gorilla be absolute icons. And I need /fic of them written yesterday.
Next time we're just gonna watch Superstars again.
You know.
But yeah, that was this episode of Primetime Wrestling. We'll be back soon. We're almost to WrestleMania 6. We got one more episode before we then get to 6.
Jesus, we're racing our way to like 2 different WrestleManias right now. It's kind of
because of the way, I tried to initially have our arcs end in different points, so that's not so we don't have just like and then the next 3 weeks we're just finishing arcs. But because I've also played around with different lengths of arcs, now they're all synced up that we're basically just doing a bunch of the same arcs all at once, and they all kind of end at more or less the same time as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's for in the future, though, when we get back to 1990. For next time, we return to Lucha Underground.
Hey, speak of the devil.
Yeah, because Rey Fenix has gotten his belt back from Inferno.
Yes.
And Mil Muertes successfully fended off Prince Puma and Pentagon Jr. There's only one thing left to do, with Aztec Warfare a mere week away.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking hyped for Aztec Warfare.
It's time for Phoenix versus Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground Championship.
Baby! That's fucking exciting. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Oh, fuck yes. Fuck yes.
Yeah, but that is for next time. Until then, David, hit our plugs.
Yes, sir. Dear friends, thank you all so much for joining us on yet another episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast. We are so delighted to have you here. Returning listeners, viewers, what have you. You know the drill. Thank you so much for once again welcoming us back into your eardrums, your eyeballs, whatever it is you use to consume our content. We're just so happy to have you here. New people, hey, hi, how's it going? Welcome to the show. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast like to think we are friendly to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you're brand new to the wild, wacky world of wrestling or you're a veteran of all the weird bullshit, either way, we're delighted to have you here. We hope you've had a great time here. You know, things have felt cool and fun and accessible. And we hope you want to keep having a great time with us week after week after week. And I'm going to make sure you know all the ways you can do that. First and foremost, of course, you can find us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Ring that bell. Make sure it turns a nice little solid color so you get notifications every single time we drop a brand new episode. Give us that sweet, sweet engagement. Check out all of our playlists because Austin has been kind enough to organize all of the storylines that you follow into their own separate playlists so you can follow something all the way down without having to skip around a whole lot. It's great. And plus, it's the YouTube version. You can see our beautiful, wonderful faces, our best impressions of Honky Tonk Man doing a goofy-ass freeze-frame face, and just how sexy I look in a baby blue unicorn onesie. It's true. You should check it out. Of course, on top of that, we have the audio-only option for all y'all that really love your ears, your eardrums and using them. You know, I do too sometimes. I get it. You can find Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on 3 of the best places to find your podcast, which, of course, are Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Check us out there. Listen to our show, of course, but don't just listen. Download our show. You know, maybe leave us a nice little rating and a review that says, hey, these guys are pretty cool. Maybe more people should be listening to them. I don't know. I'm just saying. Stuff like that. It means a lot to us emotionally, but also it's a great boon to our channel. Great boon for our metrics and for spreading the word about us. You know, hashtag stand up for Noobs and Knockouts, all that good stuff. So be sure to check us all out there, and give us a little bit of that engagement if you can. It's greatly appreciated. Noobs and Knockouts on YouTube, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Of course, on top of that, we have lives and existences outside of this little void that we find ourselves in week after week. You can find us on a few different places on the interwebs as well. First and foremost, of course, is our Twitter for some social media presence. You can find us at Noobs and Knoxpod on Twitter. That's at Noobs, the letter N, Knoxpod on Twitter. Come check us out there. We do all the normal Twitter shit, memes, discourse, what have you. We post every single time we drop a brand new episode, so you guys always know what the hell's going on. Of course, the highlight of our Twitter is weekly wrestling live tweeting every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on TBS. We are watching and tweeting about AEW Dynamite. I love getting to hop on there and make stupid jokes and observations and, just get really hype about a lot of shit and talk all about that. Hop on the discussion with everybody. Would love it if you joined us. Sometimes when we're feeling spicy, sometimes not always. Not this weekend because we're recording on Friday night and I'm busy on Saturday. But, I am an AEW loyalist through and through. So sometimes on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT, I will watch and tweet about AEW Rampage. It is the show that y'all been waiting on. And then on Saturday nights, sometimes on TNT at 8 p.m. Eastern, we are watching AEW Collision because Saturday night is all right for fighting, of course. On top of all of that, Austin, being the knockout that he is, compared to me, just a simple little noob, will tweet all about, he likes to follow all of the major Western wrestling companies and their pay-per-views, all the shit they got going on. And we like to tell you guys about them. It's a lot of good stuff. And, sometimes we'll tweet about them too. So, my friend, what is on the docket at coming up?
Right. So let's start first with Impact Wrestling. That's my number one show. Fuck you. And upcoming for them, if you want to watch Impact Wrestling on a week-to-week basis, you can do so. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern on Access TV, or with a YouTube subscription, a mere $1 a month. You can watch Thursdays at 8:30. You can watch Thursdays every week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, commercial free. Now, as for what's upcoming for Impact, I got two things going at once. Upcoming on an actual pay-per-view event is Multiverse United 2, For Whom the Bell Tolls, at the historic 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. It is a co-produced Impact Wrestling versus New Japan Pro Wrestling event. And that is coming up on August 20th. Now on August 27th, the next week, will be Impact Emergence. Impact Wrestling does a lot of B-level pay-per-view shows on Impact Plus that's their streaming service. And Emergence is the next one of that upcoming. Now, for AEW, we already talked about all the shows, the Dynamites, the Collisions, what have you. Upcoming AEW has 2 pay-per-views in 2 weeks. I guess we're actually doing it, huh?
Oh,
okay.
I don't want to think about it. Anyway,
live on August 27th is All In London at Wembley Stadium. A lot of fucking people are going to be there. Then very next week will be All Out on September the 3rd in Chicago.
Indeed.
More on that as we get closer to both of those shows.
True.
Now, for the WWE, to watch that weekly is Raw, 8 p.m. Eastern on USA Network on Monday nights, and Friday night SmackDown at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. This is they are sharing space with All Out on Labor Day weekend, as on September the 2nd will be Payback. Now, as of airing, SummerSlam hasn't even finished yet, but by the time it is.
SummerSlam's happening right now, isn't it?
I think it's tomorrow night. Pretty sure. Yes, tomorrow night.
Okay.
SummerSlam. In SummerSlam, at date of recording, at date of airing, it will already be over. So next up for the WWE, September 2nd, Payback, live on Peacock.
Outstanding. that what we got? Is that it? Hey, you'll love to see it. So be sure to check all that out. We like to tell you guys all about this stuff. It's not just like, shameless plugging from us for especially for the noobs in the audience, Again, keeping things accessible. We want to let you guys explore your options a little bit. So we like to tell you a little bit about this, how you can watch the normal shows. And we like to tell you guys about the pay-per-views too. Those can be a great jumping on point. Big storylines are wrapping up. Big storylines are getting started up. You're guaranteed to get some banger ass, matches on there, some iconic moments. So again, we like to tell you guys all about that sort of stuff and keep you updated. And hey, follow along with us on the Twitter. If you like listening to us ramble about wrestling for hours on end, you'll like it over on the Twitter. Our voices carry over pretty well, for better or for worse. So come check us out over on that Twitter at Noobs and Knockouts Pod. Of course, if you want to get in super direct, long-form contact with us, because, Twitter's got that whole character limit thing, you can do so by emailing us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs, the word and this time, knockoutspod@gmail.com. Come say hi to us. Tell us what you think about the show. Request things you want to see us cover on the show. Yell at us because our takes are stupid or our impressions are bad, or say that our takes are wonderful and our impressions are better than anyone else's, actually. We love to hear it. Start discourse with us. Just say hi. We love people saying hi. We would love to say hi back. noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. And of course, finally, you can also find us on Patreon. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on Patreon. For only $1 a month, that's one simple little dollary do. You can get some special early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode. A shout out, as always, to friend of the show, the Sugar Daddy, Kyle Smith, for hooking us up and being our most dedicated, lovely patron. Enjoy your perks, buddy. We know you do. If you want to enjoy your perks along with our boy Kyle, you can find us at Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on Patreon. The link for that, by the way, is in our Twitter.
See y'all next time.
Hasta luego.